Little Explorer. Tim and the Nature Adventure. Once upon a time, in a lush green village, there lived a little boy named Tim. Tim was a curious child who loved nature. Every day, he would venture into the forest to discover new things. His best friend was a squirrel named Tiny. Tiny always enjoyed joining Tim on his adventures. One morning, Tim and Tiny were wandering through the forest when they heard a strange sound. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Intrigued by the sound, Tim decided to follow it. "Tiny, have you ever heard this sound before?" Tim asked. Tiny shook his head and said, "No, Tim, let's find out what it is together." As they followed the sound, their excitement grew. Finally, they found a small bird under a big tree. The baby bird had fallen from its nest and needed help. Tim gently picked up the baby bird. "Don't worry, little friend. We'll get you back to your nest safely," he assured. Tiny quickly climbed up the tree to find the nest. With Tiny's help, Tim carefully placed the baby bird back in its nest. The baby bird was so happy to be reunited with its mother and chirped gratefully. Tim and Tiny continued to explore the forest, feeling proud of their good deed. This experience taught Tim the importance of helping others and respecting nature. The next day, Tim and Tiny were walking in the forest when they found a map. The map showed a hidden treasure in the forest. "Let's find this treasure," Tim said excitedly. Tiny added, "Yes, Tim, but we must be careful not to get lost. We need to follow the map closely." Tim and Tiny embarked on a great adventure, following the clues on the map. They overcame many obstacles and finally found the cave where the treasure was hidden. Inside the cave, there were no gold or jewels, but there were old books and maps full of information about nature. Tim and Tiny learned a lot from these books. They understood the importance of protecting and respecting nature. They decided to share what they had learned with the other children in the village. In the village, they organized many activities about nature conservation. They planted trees, built shelters for animals, and worked to keep nature clean. Tim and Tiny's efforts made a big difference in the village. Tim and Tiny's work on nature conservation caught everyone's attention. Other children and even adults joined them. Together, they formed a big team dedicated to protecting nature. This was the greatest achievement in Tim and Tiny's lives.